Before we dive into this heartbreaking story about young Prince William's attempts to protect his mother, please consider subscribing to the Diana Stories and hitting the like button if this content resonates with you. Your support helps us continue telling these untold stories about the people's princess. When William was 11 years old, he asked his mother, Diana, "If you get divorced, will I have to stay with Dad?" This question broke Diana's heart, while revealing the enormous burden William was carrying. On a cold winter evening in 1992, silence reigned at Kensington Palace. Diana sat in the living room, lost in thought. Her marriage was falling apart, and she could no longer hide it. Just then, the door opened gently, and William walked in. 11-year-old William looked mature beyond his years. He had noticed the sadness on his mother's face. Nothing escaped him. As Diana looked at her son, she saw how much he had grown and how sensitive he was. "Mum," William said, his voice filled with uncertainty, "you and Dad, are you really going to separate?" Diana wasn't prepared for this question. How could she explain to an 11-year-old child that the family was falling apart? Diana sat her son next to her. "William, sometimes adults have problems," she said gently. William's eyes were focused on her mother's eyes. "But it's never your fault, never." William remained silent for a moment. Then he asked, "If you get divorced, will I have to stay with Dad?" This question shattered Diana's heart. William was only 11 years old, but he was already thinking about his future fate. Diana hugged her son tightly. "You are always mine, William. No matter what happens, you are my son." But behind William's questions was a deeper concern. He wasn't just thinking about where he would live, but also how he would protect his mother. William had noticed his mother's fragility from a very young age. Diana sometimes cried for hours. Sometimes she wouldn't eat. Sometimes she wouldn't leave her room at night. William knew these weren't normal. Barbara Barnes, William's first nanny, remembered the little prince's behavior. William monitored his mother's mood from a very young age. When Diana was sad, William became sad too. He was like his mother's emotional thermometer. In 1985, when William was only 3 years old, Diana's bulimia crises were at their peak. Little William would knock on the door when he heard his mother crying in the bathroom. "Mummy, are you okay?" he would ask. This was too heavy a responsibility for a 3-year-old child. When William turned 4, he clearly felt the tension in the family. He saw that his parents no longer spent time together as they used to. Silence dominated dinner tables. Carolyn Bartholomew, Diana's close friend, described William during that period. "William was a very serious child. He behaved older than his age. He acted like an adult when talking to his mother. This wasn't normal." At age 5, William once said to his mother, "Mummy, when I grow up, I'll protect you. No one will be able to hurt you." Diana cried when she heard these words. While her child was trying to say words that would make her feel safe, he was trying to take her under protection. One of William's most difficult moments occurred in 1987, when he was 5 years old. Diana's bulimia crisis had intensified, and she was showing self-harm behaviors. One day, William found his mother in the bathroom, covered in blood. William never fully remembered the details of this traumatic moment, but the impact of that day lasted a lifetime. Ken Worf, Diana's bodyguard, described that day. William was very scared. He was crying while hugging his mother. He kept asking, "Is Mummy going to die?" After this incident, William became even more protective. He didn't want to leave his mother's side. He worried even when going to school. "Will Mummy be home?" he constantly asked. Dr. The psychiatrist who treated Diana during that period evaluated William's situation. William had taken on adult responsibility at an early age. This wasn't healthy for child development. In 1988, when William turned 6, he started at Ludgrove Prep School. But even at school, he thought about his mother. His teachers noticed that William was often distracted and worried about his mother. Gerald Barber, William's headmaster, remembered the little prince's behavior. William was different from other children, very mature, but also very worried. He constantly wondered what his mother was doing. During school holidays, when William came home, his first task was to check on his mother's condition. If Diana looked good, William would relax. If she looked bad, he would worry. This was too big a burden for a 6-year-old child. In 1989, 7-year-old William asked his mother an important question. "Mummy, why are you always sad?" This question deeply affected Diana. Her child was noticing her unhappiness and feeling responsible for it. Diana tried to explain the situation to William. "Sometimes adults get sad, William, but it's not your fault." But William wasn't satisfied. "I can do something, Mummy. You tell me, I'll make you happy." During this period, William began doing various things to make his mother happy. He picked flowers, drew pictures, sang songs. In Diana's most difficult days, William's efforts kept her going. Paul Burrell, Diana's butler, described William's behavior during this period. William was like a little adult. When his mother was sad, he would hug her and comfort her. He behaved very maturely. In 1990, 8-year-old William began to understand more clearly the tension between his family members. He had noticed that his parents no longer slept in the same room. This situation worried him greatly. One night, William went to his mother's room and asked, "Mummy, why do you and Dad fight?" Diana didn't know how to answer this question. How could she tell an 8-year-old child that the marriage was over? "Sometimes adults have disagreements, William," Diana said. "But we both love you very much." William wasn't satisfied with this answer. "If I do something, will you make up?" This question brought tears to Diana's eyes. William really tried to reconcile his parents. He showed them pictures he drew together. He tried to get family photos taken, but nothing worked. In 1991, a turning point occurred for 9-year-old William. Diana's emotional crisis had reached its peak. One night, after Diana harmed herself, William tried to comfort her. "Mummy, please don't hurt yourself," William said, crying. "If you die, what will I do?" These words were a wake-up call for Diana. Her child was living in fear of losing her. That night, Diana promised William, "Nothing will happen to me, William. You are very precious to me." But William could no longer fully trust his mother. He began to watch her constantly. Tiggy Leg Book, William's new nanny, described his behavior. William constantly checked on his mother. He wanted to know where she was. This wasn't normal child behavior. In 1992, the most difficult year began for 10-year-old William. News of his parents' separation began to leak to the press. His friends at school were asking William questions about his family. William didn't know how to answer these questions. He wanted to protect his family, but couldn't deny the truth either. This situation put him under strain. One day, when he came home from school, William asked his mother, "Is what's written in the newspapers true?" Diana tried to protect her son's innocence, but it was becoming difficult. "Don't believe everything the newspapers write, William," Diana said. "What matters is that we love each other." But William understood what the news from the press meant. In 1993, 11-year-old William learned that his family would officially separate. This news deeply affected him. He now understood that his parents would never reconcile. That's when he asked that famous question, "If you get divorced, will I have to stay with Dad?" Diana's heart was shattered when she heard this question. William was only 11 years old, but he was thinking about his future fate. "You'll stay with me, William," Diana said with a firm voice. "No matter what happens, you are my son." But William was still worried. "What if Dad takes me away from you?" Diana tried to reassure William. "No one can separate you from me, William. You are the meaning of my life." But William's fears didn't pass with these words. During this period, William began to protect his mother even more closely. When Diana cried, he brought her tissues. When she was sad, he made jokes. When she was sick, he stayed by her side. Lady Sarah McCorkadile, Diana's sister, described William's behavior during that period. William was like a little protector. He paid great attention to Diana. He tried to meet her every need. In 1994, a new challenge began for 12-year-old William. News about Diana's private life began to emerge. William couldn't understand these reports, but he saw that his mother was upset. "Mummy, why do they write bad things about you?" William asked. Diana tried to explain the situation to her son. "Sometimes people write without knowing the truth, William. What matters is that we know the truth." William tried to protect his mother on this issue too. He began reading newspapers, and when something bad was written about his mother, he wouldn't tell her. He told lies to protect his mother. This situation was very difficult for William. A 12-year-old child felt obligated to keep family secrets. This was a heavy responsibility. In 1995, when William turned 13, he didn't know that preparations were being made for Diana's BBC Panorama interview, but he noticed that his mother was very stressed. After the interview, William asked his mother, "Why did you give this interview, Mummy?" Diana tried to explain to her son that the truth needed to be known, but William was worried. "Won't this interview put us in more trouble?" William asked. How right he was.
After the interview, Diana's situation became even more difficult. William tried to support his mother through this new crisis too. He told her she needed to be strong. "You are a very brave woman, Mummy. You can overcome everything." In 1996, when the divorce was finalized, William was 14 years old. He was now a teenager, but he still felt responsible for protecting his mother. After the divorce, Diana was very lonely. William noticed his mother's loneliness. During school holidays, he tried to spend more time with her.
"Mummy, you're never alone," William said. "I'm always with you." These words were very valuable to Diana. Her son was her greatest supporter. William's effort to protect his mother continued until her death. During their last vacation together, in the summer of 1997, William tried to make his mother happy. When Diana died on August 31st, 1997, William was 15 years old. He couldn't protect his mother. This was a very heavy burden for him. At Diana's funeral, as William walked behind the coffin, the little protector's duty had ended, but his mother's legacy would live on with him. Today, William shows his own children the compassion he learned from his mother. Diana's mission to protect suffering children continues to live on in William. William's effort to save his mother was actually the whole world's effort to save Diana. But for an 11-year-old child, this was too heavy a responsibility.